don't know the reason why. I've got this crazy technology here. Okay, it's just connecting to YouTube Live. Another 20 seconds. While we're doing that, I'll check to see if there's any questions. Vinu likes the black background better than this white one. Oh, white color looks awful, says somebody. You can't please everybody. Okay, I'm going to put this link into the chat. I'm going to turn the chat off, and somebody said I've got a new haircut. That's true. Okay, so now you can chat with me. You can't chat with each other, so you can't see each other's chat. The link for the YouTube Live is now in the chat itself. It's blue, so click that. If you're having any trouble viewing this, watch it on YouTube Live. Okay, that should be enough of that. We can get back to this. We're going to do a multiple choice, multiple answers, a reorder paragraphs, a fill in the blanks, and a reading and writing fill in the blanks. Before we do anything though, let's discuss time management. So in PTE reading, you get between 15 and 20 questions, and you get between 32 and 41 minutes. Now, if you do the mathematics on this, and I've timed hundreds and hundreds of people doing these questions from the very fast to the very slow, and I've come up with some average times. These average times are as follows. So for multiple choice single answer, of which you'll get 2 or 3 on test day, you should only spend about 2 minutes. You'll be surprised. The text length is 110 words max, so it's not very long. You can definitely read this. You can read the question prompt. You can read the answer options. You can read the text, and you can find the answer in under 2 minutes. Multiple choice, multiple answers, of which you'll get 2 or 3, will take you longer, 2.5, possibly 3 minutes. The text length here is up to 300 words. Reorder paragraph, you'll get 2 or 3 of these on test day. You should only be spending about 1.5 to 2 minutes on these. Fill in the blanks. These are very short, these texts. You'll get 4 or 5 of them on test day, and they should take you no longer than 1.5 minutes, so 90 seconds on each of these. Reading and writing, fill in the blanks, of which you'll get 5 or 6. These are longer texts, and they take quite a bit of reading. They're going to take you about 2.5 minutes each, okay? Anyway, that's an indicative time. I'll time you tonight, and I'll let you know how you're going. Let's look at multiple choice single answer. So it looks like this on test day. Let me just point out the important parts. This is the most important part here. This is the question prompt, where it asks you to look for something, an opinion. And here it lists the 4 different opinions. So then you have to go into here and you find that opinion and you choose this one here, okay? So this is critical, this question prompt here. The method is to quickly, just for 5 seconds, read straight down the page. What you need to do is you look at that text just for 5 seconds. You don't need to read it, but you need to get your brain to begin thinking about those words that are in it. What's it about? So you look at it, just scan, read it for 5 seconds. It sort of turns on all the vocabulary in your brain. Next, understand the question prompt. 3, connect the question prompt to the answer option. So say you're looking for an opinion. Well, what are the 4 opinions given? 4, deep read the text. Look for the opinion. 5, reread the prompt to make sure you found the right thing. 6, eliminate the incorrect answers so that you can, 7, locate the correct answer. Let's do this one here. I'll tell you when 2 minutes is up. Okay, that's 2 minutes. I'm going to give you another minute though, just to make sure you get the right answer. Let me explain this question to you a little bit further before you move on. So what you need to do is here we have 3 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, right? And here we have 1, 2, 3 words, same as here, here, and here. So you need to decide which paragraph does the first word link to, for example. So is this paragraph here, would that be summarized down to the word innovation, improvement, advancement, or manufacturing? For the second paragraph, the same thing. You want to look at this paragraph and decide whether that would best be summarized as an invention, best be summarized as innovation, best be summarized as effectiveness, or best be summarized as production, for example. It's a bit of a trick. Same with the third one. The third paragraph, would that best be described or characterized as a development, a transformation, a production, or a development? Okay, let's have a look at the answer here. The answer is A. The best way to find this answer is when I looked at this first paragraph and then I looked at the possible words that could describe it, I got a bit stuck because it could have been innovation, it could have been manufacturing. I wasn't so sure. This paragraph gave it away for me. Let's read this one. It says, these blades were crescent shaped and glued into arrowhead. This area, known as the Howierson's port, has produced the earliest known evidence for the use of the bow and arrow. The earliest known evidence for the use of the bow and arrow. This was the first time anywhere that bows and arrows were used. So that, to me, said that that was an invention. This paragraph here could best be characterized by the word invention. Innovation, possibly, not effectiveness, not production. So this word here, invention, got that for me. And then we're left with, well, okay, it could have been A or B. So let's look at the third paragraph. The heat treatment enabled early humans to produce tougher, harder tools, the first evidence of a transformative technology. This could best be characterized as the word development. So if you got A, well done. That by no means was easy. That was a really tricky one, actually. Let's have a look at multiple choice, choose multiple answers. Now, I just mucked around with this question here. What I'm going to do is pause. I can't pause it. Okay, this is what it looks like on test day. You can see that the text is longer there. It can be up to 300 words, so it can be substantially longer than the single answer. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the answer options. And this time, instead of circles, they're actually little squares. And this tells you that this is multiple choice. Choose multiple answers where you can choose more than one answer option. The question prompt is, again, very critical, but usually it will say something like, which of the following statements are true, or which statements are correct, something like that. So effectively, what you're doing is you're looking at this statement here, you're finding the corresponding sentence in here, and you're asking yourself, does it say the same thing? If it does say the same thing, in which case it's true, then you'll tick it. If it says something different, or if it contradicts what that statement says, then you leave it. Okay, let's just quickly recap the scoring here. So let's suppose a question has 5 answer options, A, B, C, D, and E. And let's say that A and B are the correct options. So if you choose A and B, you'll get 2 points, or 100%. If you choose just A, well, you get 1 point, or 50%. If you choose C and D, both incorrect, you'll get 0 points. It doesn't go below 0. 0 is the minimum score. If you choose A and C, well, you got the first one right, but then the second one wrong. So that's 1 minus 1, that's 0. Same with B and E. If you choose A, B, and C, so you get 2 minus 1, that's 1 point. And if you choose nothing, well, you'll definitely get 0 points. So don't do that. Again, I want you to run your eye very quickly down the text. Read the question prompt. Read the answer options. This is the most critical step though. Number 4, find the answer option in the text. Ask yourself, does it say the same thing? Does the statement say the same thing as the sentence in the text? If yes, select it. If no, move on and repeat this. Here we go. I'll give you 3 minutes to do this one. Read that question prompt very carefully, by the way. "45 seconds left." Okay, how's it going there? Let me just have a look at the answers, see what you've got. Uh-oh. Screen is frozen. How long has that been frozen for? Oh, YouTube screen's frozen. Wait. Hold on. Here? Okay, it's just connecting to YouTube. Hold on, let me see if I can fix this. Jay, I hope you're seeing the chat box. I can't see the lecture as well as your voice. Something is wrong. Frozen, not only on YouTube. Okay, hold on. What do I do here? All right, let's do that. Hold on, bear with me. Okay, let's just stop the video. Okay. How's that? Is that working? Okay, can you Okay, can you see me? Damn, I don't know how long that was happening for. I'm really sorry. Can someone please put into the chat? So it was for, okay, so you need to do all of multiple choice, multiple answers again. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Last 3 minutes. Okay, I'll check periodically. I'm going to give you this one again, multiple choice, multiple answers. I will check back in 1 minute, okay? Just to see if it's working, but I'll give you the full 3 minutes again. Okay, that's 1 minute. I'm just going to check that that's working. Okay. Another 2 minutes left. It's 2 minutes 30. I'm just going to check that it's working still. All right, good. It's working. Give you another 30 seconds there. All right. Is that enough time? I think that's enough time. Cool. Terribly sorry about that technical fault. Sorry you had to sit there and do nothing. Let's go through these answers here. So let's ask ourselves, does the answer option say the same thing as the text? So let me go back here. Okay, let's first of all understand the question prompt here. Which of the following statements are true of male pipefish? So males nurture the eggs. This is the they thing. So it's really males nurture the eggs. Males compete for access to females. Males become pregnant and carry the young. Males are ornamented. The bigger the males are, the more attractive they are, okay? So this is really what you needed to do in your mind. You needed to transfer that pronoun back to males nurture the eggs. Now let's have a look at the text here. So males nurture the eggs. So here it says, in the upside down world of the pipefish, sexual selection appears to work in reverse, with flashy females battling for males who bear the pregnancy and carry their young. Males bear the pregnancy and carry their young. So males become pregnant and carry the young. I would definitely take that one. They nurture the eggs. Previous studies have also found that large female pipefish, which are able to transfer more eggs to the male's pouch. Okay, so they transfer the eggs to the male's pouch. And here it says they bear the pregnancy and carry the young in their brood pouch. So I think we can safely select A, that males nurture the eggs. Here it says males compete for access to females. Here it says for most species, males compete for access to females. Think a peacock's tail or a buck's antlers. But in some species, the sex roles are reversed and males carry the brood, as in the case of pipefish, blah, 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 blah. In these cases, females must compete for access to available males. So let's get rid of B, because that's incorrect. Males are ornamented. Okay, here it says, researchers have found secondary sex traits such as brightly colored ornamentation evolving in female pipefish instead of males. So no, males are not ornamented. So far we've got A and C. What about E? The bigger the males are, the more attractive they are. It says here, previous studies have also found that large female pipefish, which are able to transfer more eggs to the male's pouch, large female pipefish are more attractive to the males. The bigger the males are, the more attractive they are. But researchers found that size of male pipefish matters too. This one's a bit ambiguous because the first part of the sentence is definitely incorrect. The second part is a bit unclear. Let's read it again. The answer option says the bigger the males are, the more attractive they are. The text says previous studies have found that large female pipefish are more attractive to the males. Then it says, but researchers found that the size of male pipefish matters too. Doesn't really say about attraction though. Anyway, if I were you, would have chosen A and C. They are the correct answers. E was a real trick. Did anybody just choose A and C? And is my video camera still working? Okay, a lot of people chose A, C, and E because of that really ambiguous final sentence. Yeah, I'd like to give that to you, but if you chose A and C, you did very well. If there's ever a statement that doesn't exactly correspond in meaning, don't choose it. If it's in some way different in meaning or in some way contradictory, don't choose it. You should only choose it if those two, the statement and the text, say exactly the same thing, but in different words, right? Cool. Yes. Somebody said YouTube has now frozen. Let me see if, no, I can see the YouTube live. People are smiling on YouTube live and sending happy faces. So that looks like it's working. All right, cool. Let's move on to reorder paragraphs. Hopefully this one works. You'll get 2 or 3 of these on test day. On the left-hand side, you can see a paragraph and the sentences are all jumbled up. You have to put that sentence back into the correct order on the right-hand side. The good news is in this one on the exam, you can actually muck around with the order. You can move it up and down to place it and read it and reread it to make sure it makes sense. But there is a method here. What you need to do is find the independent sentence first. There'll be a single sentence that stands alone. There'll be a single sentence that does not need the other sentences to make sense. It has its own context, right? After you've found that sentence, which is arguably the most important sentence, you should then use your knowledge of, well, not so much knowledge of subject, verb, object, but think about how you have a sentence like SVO. They're usually simple sentences, right? And then you have your next sentence like SVO. Now, there's different ways that this can happen, but the meaning, there'll be a keyword here or something happening in the object of the sentence, and that will transfer to the subject of the following sentence. Or it might be the subject of the first goes into the subject of the second, or it might be even be the subject goes into the object. But these two sentences are going to connect through meaning, okay? So think about sentence parts, think about meaning, and think about how they're connected. You can also use your knowledge of grammar, such as and the, or words like this and these, for example. That will be helpful. That should not guide you, but it should be helpful to check. Number 4, this is the critical part. You need to check your sentence flow. If you get stuck, think about paragraph structure. It usually goes from simple to complex, or it goes from problem to solution, for example. And number 6, check your paragraph meaning. Let me just check that this is all working. Cool, it's working. Good, thanks, guys. And everything's cool on YouTube Live. Good, good, good. Let's do this one. I'll give you 2 minutes. Give you another 30 seconds. Okay, how did you go? Cool, okay. Just having a look at the chat here. The independent sentence looks like people have selected D, which is fine. A lot of people have also selected C. It's an interesting one. That independent sentence is so important to get right. Do you need more time? If you need more time, put in yes into the chat. All right, a lot of people need more time, so I'm going to give you another minute. Okay, let's have a look at the answers now. So, whoa. So in fact, the independent sentence here is D. I know it starts with in principle, and that looks like a word like however or therefore, but it's not. You can in fact start a paragraph with in principle. Listen to this. It says, in principle, there is no lack of iron on Earth, as the metal is one of the most abundant elements in Earth's crust. So it's a nice independent sentence. Let's have a look at C. C says, without iron ore, there would be no plankton growth, no food chain, no photosynthesis, and no carbon fixation in the oceans. That's true. That could be an independent sentence as well. Let's have a look at the next one. So in principle, there is no lack of iron on Earth, as the metal is one of the most abundant elements in Earth's crust. However, in the ocean, dissolved iron is very rare, since it reacts rapidly with oxygen, forming iron minerals, which are poorly soluble and therefore unavailable for organisms. So in D, it said there is no lack of iron on Earth. However, in the ocean, iron is very rare. You can see how those two sentences connect from the subject to the subject. No lack of iron on Earth. In the ocean, iron is rare, right? Now we're going to connect B to a sentence. We're going to connect it to A. B says, in the ocean, dissolved iron is very rare since it reacts rapidly with oxygen, forming iron minerals, which are poorly soluble and therefore unavailable for organisms. Nevertheless, dissolved iron is an essential nutrient for life. Without iron, there would be no plankton growth, no food chain, no photosynthesis, and no carbon fixation in the oceans. The sources of this micronutrient is therefore a central question for marine research. That was an absolute doozy. It's DBACE. Who got DBACE? DBAC. I see Vikas has. Tara got it. Nice. 3 from Arsen got 3 out of 5. Jihoon got it. Nice. Oh, I'm going to have to check this. I must have made a mistake in that one there. A, C, in principle, D, E. Anyway, I'll check that one. Sorry. All right, let's look at fill in the blanks. You'll get 4 or 5 of these on test day. You have to drag and drop the word into the blank to fill a collocation or a natural sounding phrase. This is the method for this one. First of all, you should just very quickly scan, read the text to get an idea of the theme of what the text is about. If you can identify word types, you can match the gap to the answer options. For example, if you're looking at that gap and you see that it has, if there's a noun here and you look at that gap, then it's more than likely going to be an adjective. And if you look down at the answer options and you see there are 3 adjectives, you know it can be one of those, and there are 2 other types of words. So if you can do that, and you can sort of go, that requires an adjective. Okay, there are 3 down here. It's going to be one of those 3. It will increase your odds of selecting the right answer. Otherwise, number 3, you have to ask yourself, what's the collocation? What's the word combination? What's the natural sounding phrase that the word will create? Let's do this one. 10 seconds. Okay, let's have a look at these answers. Before we do, let's have a look at how we can identify which type of word will fit in here. So the moon, Earth's closest neighbor, is among the strangest planetary. We're going to need a noun here. Okay, so we've got slope. That could be a noun. Bodies could be tilt. I guess these could be nouns. Numerical is not. Items, yes. Loose, no, and split. A split could be a noun, I guess. Okay, we've eliminated. Whoops, sorry. We've eliminated two of them, which is helpful. But here, what you really need to do is think about what word do I need to insert here to create a natural sounding phrase? A planetary slope, planetary bodies, planetary tilt, planetary items, or planetary split. Okay, so that's the sort of thinking that you need to go through. What type of word can fit there? Okay, what's the correct phrase? So the first one is planetary bodies. Number two, its orbit lies unusually far away from Earth with a surprisingly large orbital. Now this one's going to be a real trick. It's a tilt, an orbital tilt. It could have been slope, but it's not quite the right word. Tilt is the right word because we're talking about a sphere. Planetary scientists have struggled to piece together a scenario that accounts for these and other related characteristics of the Earth-Moon system. A new research paper based on something models. So we're going to need one of those adjectives there. And the answer is going to be numerical models, because that's the phrase, that's the natural sounding phrase, numerical models, blah, 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 blah. The Earth-Moon system comes closer to tying up all the loose, whoops, I said it there already, loose ends. Bodies, tilt, numerical, and loose. How did you go? Who got those? Nice, good, okay. Seeing some happy faces, that's good. Finally, 5 out of 5, says Arpan. Nice, that's fine. 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4. How did you get 5 out of 5 when there are only 4? Who knows? Okay, let's move on to reading and writing, fill in the blanks. This one is kind of tricky because there's no real method to this one. You'll get 5 or 6 of these on test day, and it's really a test of your vocabulary. It's a test of, first of all, how broad your vocabulary is. Like if you think about a single word and how many synonyms it might have, and then each of those synonyms has a slightly different meaning. Yes, they're related to that original word, but they will have slightly different meanings in different contexts. So this is a test both of your breadth of vocabulary and your depth in terms of how well you understand the subtle differences in meaning between words, right? It's a real trick. So it tests your understanding of meaning. You need to eliminate options that are imprecise. So this is about precise meaning. Read each sentence, inserting each of the options one by one. Listen to the way the sentence sounds. Choose the option that sounds best in the sentence. Here we go. I'll give you, whoa, this is a big one. I'll give you 3 minutes. Another 20 seconds. Okay, that's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So you probably don't want to spend that long on test A, but nevertheless, let's go through the answers. This was a long text. Let's have a look here. So first of all, ducklings hatch. So the word hatch there is the correct word. Ducklings hatch. They don't crack. They don't, whatever the other ones were. It's hatch. In this new study published in the journal Science, ducklings were eventually presented, ultimately presented, precisely presented, or initially presented. Well, it's got to be initially presented because it's describing the experiment. They were initially presented with a pair of objects, blah, 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 blah. Now, the important part here and what happens in this part of the test, you oftentimes have to read back or forward in order to find the right answer. For example, it's talking about these objects here which move in a circular path. Objects which move in a circular path. So then for number 3, the ducklings therefore imprinted on these pairs of what sort of objects? If their objects are, well, it's going to be mobile because mobile means moving, like a mobile, a car. Okay, number 4, for example, if an individual duckling had originally been exposed to a pair of square objects, quadrilateral, cubic, or spherical, it was spherical objects because it's relating to the circular sphere ones. I think tonight's test was an absolute doozy. Who got hatching initially, mobile, and spherical? Who got 4 out of 4 there? Whoa, nice. A lot of people did actually. A few 3 out of 4s. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. 2 out of 4. Somebody asked why, on the second, why not precisely? Because of the word sciences. Okay, yeah, it was talking the first, the second one, precisely presented. Because the context here is describing the experiment, and precisely could well have been an option there. It was an option, but it doesn't quite make sense. What it's doing, it's describing the sequence of events. So the word initially had to come in that gap there, initially. So it requires a sort of broader understanding of the entire text sometimes to choose the correct word, this one here. You can't just not read anything and click the drop-down box and do it from the surrounding words. You need to understand the sentence that came before it. So you do need to rapidly scan, read this one, and try and get an understanding of what the text is about in order to select those right answers. It's a real trick. This one's a real trick. Cool. As well as the technical fault in this live class, we looked at multiple choice, single answer, multiple choice, multiple answers, reorder paragraphs, fill in the blanks, and reading and writing, fill in the blanks. Sorry about that fault. Hopefully it won't happen again. It is the first time it's happened. Nevertheless, I'll stick around and answer some questions. If you're on YouTube Live, come back into the Zoom to ask your questions into the chat. We've got 10 new questions here. Jay, is there negative marking in fill in the blanks and reading and writing fill in the blanks? No, there's not. Reading back and forth was really helpful, says Rutendo. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You'd have to be a freak of nature to be able to read any of those questions once and just get the answer. What you'll find you'll do, for example, in multiple choice single answer is you'll read the question prompt, you'll read the answer options, you'll read the text, you'll read the question prompt again, you'll quickly read their answer options, you'll quickly scan, read the text, and you go back to the question prompt because you forgot what it was, and you go back here, and you'll be going like that quite a lot. Yeah. Vinu, what is the most effective way to read these articles or these texts? Do I need to focus on unknown words and remember them, or is there another way? What should we focus on? How do we know what words are necessary for PTE reading? Right. Well, you really should be quite the opposite. You should be focusing on trying to understand what you can from the vocabulary. Then you can, from the words that are embedded in the vocabulary, sort of infer their meaning, guess their meaning, if you will. But this is why vocabulary building is such an important skill or an important thing to do. PTE reading really is a test of your vocabulary. I remember when I did this test, I was thinking, wow, you really have to have a very broad vocabulary in order to answer some of these questions. But in answer to your question, you just need to understand what you possibly can, and you need to try and guess from the words that you don't know from the context. Jay, how did your meeting with Pearson go? I haven't had it yet, actually, but I will, and I've got some questions I'm going to ask them. Jay, please help. What happens if I cancel tomorrow's tutorial? I won't be able to attend it, and I can't seem to reschedule it. If it's less than 24 hours, you can't cancel or reschedule it. Just try to cancel it. So what you do, you log in, right? Log into your dashboard. On the left-hand side, you'll have appointments. You'll have an appointments tab. Click that appointments tab, and in there's a little garbage can. You can cancel it. Try to do that. If you can't cancel it, send a message to help.e2language.com, help.e2language.com. We'll see if we can accommodate you, okay? Jay, I got an extremely low score in spelling last time, 19. Yeah, okay, fine. This is a weird thing. I've seen a lot of people get low scores in spelling, but it not affect their writing. And I've also seen them get low scores in spelling and have low writing scores. So I'm not quite sure of the influence on spelling on your writing score. When I did mine, I got 90 in writing, but I got a terrible spelling score of like 66. So it is possible. What I think happened was the computer probably knew what word I was trying to write and penalized me for it, but then still gave me the writing score. Yeah, we've got a range of spelling videos on our Core Skills YouTube channel if you want to check that out. Jay, is there any change in the PTE exam? Not that I'm aware of, no. And not that anything official has ever said about that recently, so no. How many questions in the reading section? That's a good question. Let me tell you right now. You'll get 2, 4, 6, 10, between 15 and 20. Between 15 and 20, it depends on the test. Jay, last time you told you'll let us know the reorder scoring. I haven't found out yet, sorry. That's one of the questions I need to ask Pearson. Jay, can I join the IELTS classes as well? Yes, why not? I'm going to live stream actually in about 35 minutes. In 35 minutes, I'll live stream onto YouTube if you want to watch that live class. It's on IELTS reading. That's fine. You're more than welcome to attend. Seem in multiple choice, multiple answers. Can you have more than 2 answers? I always thought the maximum was 2. No, the maximum, I don't know the maximum. I'm guessing it's probably 3. Yes. Vibor, Jay, I'm struggling with 79 plus in reading only. Is there any other section among speaking and writing or listening where reading marks are awarded from? Reading is awarded from speaking in read aloud. Your reading score is also awarded from writing, summarize written text. And I believe it's also awarded from highlight incorrect words, though I'll need to check that. So read aloud and summarize written text also contribute to your reading score. Jay, how do I improve on select missing words? Whoa, that's an interesting one. Jimit. So select missing words is the listening task where the final phrase or the final word is replaced by a beeping sound. So what it's testing for is your ability to anticipate what the speaker is going to say. So if you want to improve that, what you need to do is you need to understand not just the last bit, not just be listening for the last bit where the beep comes in, but listening for the entire sentence, the entire paragraph or what the speaker says, because you need the entire context in order to select that final word. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Jay, how are the marks calculated from right from dictation? What will happen if I am missing 1 or 2 words in a sentence? How much will I score? Well, you will be penalized if you miss words from right from dictation. So to get a perfect score in right from dictation, you need to have every word that was said in the right order, with the right grammar, with the right spelling. So in effect, you've effectively and accurately written down that sentence, right? If you miss words, you'll lose points. If you misinterpret words, like say write down the wrong word, you'll lose points. If you add words, you'll also lose points. The paragraph one was hard today. Yes. Okay, Caesar said that there's a possible other alternative answer for reorder paragraph today. I'll check it actually. CDBAE, let me check. Sorry. CDBAE, I'll go through and check that one. I don't think so, but I'll check. Jay, please help. What happens if I cancel tomorrow's tutorial? I've answered that one. How to increase the vocabulary. You need to read widely. You need to identify words that you don't know. You need to look them up. You need to write them down. And you need to continue reading, and you need to reiterate this process as much as you possibly can. Vocabulary building is probably the most difficult thing to do when learning a language because it's so memory-based. Oh, it's so much better to learn vocabulary using an experience rather than just reading and writing it down. Like, I'm sure you know this from learning English, but some words are so memorable because that person said them to you in this context at that time, and you just never forget that word ever again. But unfortunately, you have to find an artificial way to put those words into your head as well. Ankit, are there any other sources to practice reading? Well, you can read widely from anywhere. Try to read from good news sources, for example, like, I don't know, or good academic sources like Psychology Today or British Journal of Medicine, I think it's called. Science Daily's excellent. Good newspapers like the New York Times, for example. Good journalism is good. Andrew, I've been getting 10 in pronunciation since November. Right, that's an issue. I'm not sure if you've had a tutorial yet, Andrew, but you may want to speak to one of our teachers about that. Jay, nowadays, but PTE asking variety of essay types, advantages, disadvantages, opinion and problem solution, etc. Please advise how to approach those kinds of questions. I'm not sure if that's true, or maybe you've seen some practice material that was not very good quality, because the PTE essays are always argumentative/persuasive, which means that the E2 language structure works. Of course, you have to manipulate the structure a little bit for the question prompt, but it should work for everything. I've never seen one that's problem solution, for example. That's an IELTS question type. Jay, I got 17. Right, somebody got 17 for spelling, but 70 for writing, for example. Jay, I struggle a lot with the process diagrams or anything that is not a chart in describe image. Any tips? Okay, for processes, you need to use words like firstly, secondly, next, following that, subsequently, after that, finally, blah, 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 and use those types of words to stage your speaking. Firstly, blah, 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 blah. Secondly, after that, subsequently, they are the key words for you in that one. I'm Raghuram. I'm going to sit for the exam tomorrow, the third time in a row for 79 plus. Wish me good luck. Good luck, Raghuram. I hope you get it. Jay, last time you told it, okay, I've answered that one. How do the enabling skills correlate to the main skills? I don't know. I don't know. That's a complex statistical procedure, no doubt, that I have no idea about. Jay, I have a low score in listening last time. I guess the write from dictation pulled my score. Yeah, if you miss write from dictation, the final task of the listening section, the final task of the entire test, it will pull your writing grade and your listening grade down. So you need to use good time management in that section of the test. Okay, Raju, how to improve pronunciation? I got 85 on oral fluency, but only 26 on pronunciation. Okay, Raju, that means that you're using good intonation, good rhythm, good pausing, very few hesitations, very few ums and ahs, which is great. So your oral fluency is really good. The sing-song nature of your language is excellent. Pronunciation means that you are saying particular sounds in a way that a native speaker wouldn't. For example, you might be mixing up v and w. You might be saying violin instead of violin. Okay, you need to identify which sounds you're making mistakes with. Try some voice typing software like Google Voice Typing. Choose a native English to compare yourself to. Do some voice typing and find out which sounds the computer is not processing properly. Identify those sounds and then begin to work on improving them. Okay. Yes, Seem. For multiple choice, multiple answers, you can choose more than two. Rafina, what's the website to ask a question? It's help.e2language.com. Help.e2language.com. Jay, I missed a tutorial. Can I rebook it? Yeah, our policy is that you cannot, because trust me, if we give an open policy where people can just book tutorials, miss them, and then rebook them, we need to be very strict about this, unfortunately. Yes, so no, I'm sorry about that. I have an IELTS test this Saturday and I've booked my PT for the 24th. Should I stop the PT revision, only focus on the IELTS test? Yeah, if your IELTS test is this Saturday, I would just be doing IELTS and then leave it, jump to PT on Sunday. Good idea. Okay. Okay, I'm going to check that one there. How could I avail a consultation with you for securing higher scores in my next attempt for PTE? I don't teach tutorials. We have 6, 7 teachers now working. They all are great teachers, very well qualified, been teaching for years and years and years. They're excellent teachers, native English speakers, and they have all at least taken the mock PTE test, and they all know the same method. So the quality is standardized. Jay, in listening multiple choice, multiple answers, I always tend to choose the correct as well as incorrect answers. How to get rid of it? I think in the listening section of the test, taking notes is a really important skill. And I think for multiple choice, multiple answers, you should take notes. Why? First of all, it reinforces your understanding of what was said. So let's say there's a lecture and you're listening very intently, but you're writing down those words. And that actually helps your listening because you're not just sitting there staring into space. You're listening and you're transmitting what they said into words here. Second, then you go to do the question and you've got a visual memory of what just was said. So you're memorizing it from your mind, but here is the evidence of it. And then you go to select the answers based on both. I think it's a superior strategy. In the write from dictation in listening, how can I memorize the sentence during the exam? I'm struggling. Yeah, right. So I don't recommend writing anything down for write from dictation because you don't have time. Because basically what happens is they say the sentence, you have just enough time to really sort of cognize the sentence, understand it, and then you basically have to repeat it back almost immediately. There's a little bit of time and then you have to repeat it back. So you can't write anything down. The key to that one is to just absorb the sentence, to listen, to not be distracted. It's very easy to be distracted, especially by that task because you're so exhausted. Jay, shall I learn your academic collocation list? I started, but it's too lengthy. Yes, Yasmin, it's way too long. What that list is for is to familiarize yourself or to raise your awareness of what collocations are, okay? Because maybe you're not that aware of how often they occur in language, but they occur a lot. Almost everything a native speaker says is unoriginal in the way that they produce those phrases, right? So just read it, understand it, raise your awareness of it. Then when you're reading, then when you're listening, start to pay attention to them. Then when you're writing, then when you're speaking, start to use them. Jay, that means... Jay, are the IELTS essays different to the PTE essays? Correct. Well, in the IELTS, there's an opinion essay as well. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Or do you agree, for example? They are IELTS ones, and they're the same. So that's an argumentative, persuasive essay. But the IELTS has a range of other essay types that the PTE doesn't have, like problem solution. Let me think about the other ones. There's discuss both views, discuss the advantages and disadvantages, the straight question ones like why and what, for example. So yes, the IELTS has more question types, which is arguably more difficult, to be honest. Shabazz, I only came here to attend the Q&A. Very helpful. Oh, that's interesting, Shabazz. How to improve reading score. Thank you for sending through that link, Andrea. I'll have a look at that. All right, I'm nearly at the end of the questions, which is cool. I think the first slide of the set of choices and reorder is different from the slides with the answers. Okay, no problem. I'll check that out, Marvin. Thank you for that. What is the key part for the speaking score, Jay? All right, this is a good question. What's the key part for the speaking score? There are three key parts. One is content. So for read aloud, you read every word that's on the page. For describe image, you talk about the graph that's in front of you. For retell lecture, you retell the lecture that you just heard, okay? For repeat sentence, you repeat every single word. Content's pretty straightforward. Pronunciation. So there are 44 sounds in English, right? I forget how many, there are 18 consonants, there are vowel sounds, there are longer vowel sounds, etc. Maybe you're able to pronounce 42 of those sounds correctly, accurately, but two of your sounds, like maybe the p, b, or the v, w, or the th, s, or something like that is off. Now, every time you say one of those sounds that's not quite right, the computer's going to go brap, brow, brap, brow, and it's going to decrease your score. So pronunciation refers to the sound of the words. Pronunciation also refers to where you place stress in the word. For example, I teach a medical English test, and there's a medical word, abdomen, right? Your abdomen. But what do you say? What about if I said abdomen, abdomen? The computer's going to not get that because a part of pronunciation is also correct word stress, abdomen. Think about the word democracy, democracy, democracy. Now, the first time you ever see that word, you may not know where the word stress goes, and you may say democracy, democracy. And that sounds completely different than democracy, democracy. So where you're putting the emphasis or the stress on the word actually contributes to your pronunciation score as well. So there's two parts. There's the sounds and there's the stress, the word stress. Oral fluency is extremely important in the PTE. For example, in repeat sentence, when you hear the sentence, let's say the sentence says something like, the library is located, it sounds like this. The library is located at the, sorry, no, the sentence sounds like this. The library is located at the back of the quadrangle, right? And you hear it and you go, the library is located at the back of the quadrangle. Problematic for a number of reasons. First, you haven't mimicked the speaker's intonation. You need to copy the way that the speaker says that sentence. So if the speaker says, the library is located at the back of the quadrangle, you need to say, the library is located at the back of the quadrangle. Think about this. Think about the difference in meaning when I say, did Mark come to work today? Versus, did Mark come to work today? Versus, did Mark come to work today? So I've said the exact same sentence in three ways using different intonation, and it creates different meaning. And so the computer's smart enough to understand what this meaning is. The short answer is you need to copy the intonation of the speaker, especially in repeat sentence. But in read aloud, you're not just reading the text, you're reading it with meaning, ups and downs. So when you see that thing in front of you, that paragraph, you have to pretend that you're on the news, you're a news reader, and you have to read with clarity, with expression, with intonation, with correct pausing. That's all part of it. It's a really quite a phenomenal algorithm, actually. It's really cool. All right. All right, no problem. Rafina Joshi, I'm going to write down that. No problem. All right, cool. Good. Thanks, guys. I'm exhausted. I've got to run because I'm going to do an IELTS live class. If you want to come to that, starts in 15 minutes. Yay, what fun. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry about the technical problem earlier. That's a bit of a pain. Hopefully it won't happen again.